How do you feel about the possibility of modifying the Satanic Bible?
In what way?
When it says, if someone, and I'm paraphrasing, bothers you, tell them to stop, and if they don't stop, destroy them. Would it be more accurate to say destroy the threat? Because destroy them...
It's set up as a very dramatic... It's dramatic, the way that's stated there. And I think in that part of the book, much of the litany there is meant to be rabble-rousing and over the top. The rest of the philosophy, I think, does make it quite clear that there's a context for that. And our context is always based on responsibility to the responsible and punishment fitting in kind and degree the crime. It might be easier if we put all that on the same page for people. But then again, we Satanists aren't generally out there looking for stupid people, so we don't really feel we have to be so blunt and obvious about it.
Then it's left up to interpretation, which is the same thing the Christians say about the Bible. Shouldn't it be as clear as possible about what is being stated and what is required?
I think in each section, it is as clear as being required for what the sections are.
Would you bow down and say whatever your persecutors wanted you to say in order to live, or would you defy them?
And I would say whatever I needed to make sure they didn't execute me. And I'd take my money and go off and live very well somewhere as having that be my best revenge. I don't believe in being a martyr.
So you don't feel like a wimp for saying that you wouldn't stand up publicly for Satanism if somebody was going to kill you?
No, not at all. Our goal is pragmatism and survival, not to be some kind of cardboard figure that, find somebody else to do that for you. Let them be the symbol and go down with the ship, because it's only the one who lives afterwards who gets to reap the benefits of whatever that was.
When you die, you really don't think there could be some awareness that exists?
I don't think so.
Really?
I think that really death is the end, that there is no survival of any sort.
So do you fear death?
No.
You don't fear death?
Not at all.
What do you fear?
What I would fear is perhaps this country turning into a place where I might have to go underground.
Tell me about the paranormal experiences you've had.
Really not many. I had one very interesting one when I was a kid, where I felt I saw an apparition in a house that was reputedly haunted. And I woke up in the middle of the night and saw a figure, what looked like a figure at the foot of my bed. And I thought, well, that was kind of interesting. Maybe that was a ghost. It would be cool if it was. And I didn't really think much. It didn't scare me. It was just a little startling. And some months later, I found actually a person living nearby who lived in a kind of a shack. She was a woman who was old and had lived in that neighborhood. It was up on a mountainside for many, many years. And she had a photograph of the wife of the fellow who built our home, who was actually buried under a big stone off in the forest. And the picture of the wife looked an awful lot like the apparition that I saw. And I thought, kind of neat. Maybe it had a connection, maybe not.
Hey, where are all the naked ladies? Because I feel like we're missing out.
So many religions are anti-sexuality.
Yeah.
That because we're the one that says any sexuality between consenting human adults is fine, makes us titillating to them. They think that a religion that would say, well, if you want to, if you're gay, if you're straight, if you're, into different fetishes, as long as you can practice them with other consenting adults, we think fine. But for us, sex is a natural part of life. It's like eating. We Satanists try to consider ourselves gourmets in everything, so that we follow our proclivities in food, drink, sex, whatever, clothing, what cars we buy.
Okay, you take somebody like Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, who, Hail Satan, Hail Satan, Hail Satan, and he's out there murdering, raping, killing. How do you feel about these people who wear the same emblem that you have on your lapel, who say Hail Satan, and who go out and commit these terrible crimes?
I have nothing but contempt for somebody like Richard Ramirez. and wish that he'd actually climbed into the bedroom of a satanic woman who would have shot his sorry ass and stopped his reign of terror.
Under certain circumstances, you think capital punishment is okay?
Absolutely.
Okay, how do you feel about abortion?
Abortion should be up to the person whose body is in question.
What is your opinion on suicide?
Suicide is only something that should be considered if you are in a position of unending agony that had no hope of any kind of redress.
Legalization of marijuana.
Oh, certainly. I think that the idea of victimless crimes and trying to legislate what people should use, in and of itself, is inappropriate for a government. What we should do is legislate when they use it where it could be harmful to other people. If people want to smoke pot at home or drink, nice cocktails at home, that's cool.
What is the worst sin someone can commit, in your opinion?
So that question just comes at me as like, it's not really... Rape, I would say, is probably one of the worst things a person can do.
Mm-hmm. Are you the Antichrist?
Oh, that's great. The Antichrist, by Christian definition, certainly not. But am I anti the philosophy of turn the other cheek, all that kind of stuff? Yes, I'm anti that. So I'm the anti-Christ philosophy, but the Antichrist, I guess we have to watch the Omen movies again, and whatever horrible remakes are being made to figure out what that's all about.
Well, what is the Antichrist? If you're not the Antichrist, then what is the Antichrist?
There is no Antichrist. I think the Bible's just a bunch of fiction.
So all these subversive people who say that governments are controlled by Satan and that there is some apocalyptic, vision approaching, and 666, the mark of the beast, you can wrap it all up into a big package. You know better than I do. How do you feel about all that?
I think it's pretty funny. It really is. It's entertaining. I think conspiracy theorists are folks who probably should spend more time on making their own lives better than worrying about false conspiracies.
Well, I have all these ranks in the church: witch, warlock, priest, priestess, magister, magistra, mags. I mean,
all nature is hierarchical.
Mm-hmm.
And we think that it's natural to use hierarchy, that our species is hierarchical. Any kind of pack animal is hierarchical. It's nothing unusual or unnatural. And it's also part of tradition in esoteric and religious movements to do something like that.
I know that you keep the statistics about the church confidential.
Mm.
Are there more men than women, however?
Yes.
There are more men?
Yes.
Why do you think that is?
I really am not sure. There's always been a little more men than women. It isn't hugely overbalanced. You can join the Church of Satan, and the only people who will know you're a member are 3 people. And they are the people who would never say anything about it.
What do you think would shock the average American most about the Church of Satan?
That in many ways our members aren't so different from them themselves.
Yeah.
Satanists come from every walk of life. That we have folks who are blue-collar folks, white-collar folks. We have people in police departments, in the military, in fire departments. We have teachers, we have psychiatrists, we have lawyers. Of course, everybody hates the lawyers. Our members are just like people at large. Most of them, I would say, probably have a little more self-awareness than maybe a lot of folks do, because to be a Satanist means that you pay attention to yourself, since you're placing yourself as your own God in the center of your own subjective universe.
Even though these Satanists say there is no literal Satan, nor God, no demons or angels as sentient beings, what if they're wrong? Might one of these ethereal beings make an appearance during the ritual? It was finally time to find out. Ragnarok is a form of Armageddon, with Odin as God and Loki as the opposition, forming a rebirth of society. Or, as worded in Gilmore's Satanic Scriptures, the purpose of this rite is to expedite the